The adrenal glands are part of the endocrine system and are located on the superior border of the left and right kidneys. The adrenal glands contribute varying functions to the endocrine system and are comprised of two distinctive parts. As you can see, the adrenal glands are on the superior border of the kidneys and are located posterior in the abdominal cavity. Each adrenal gland consists of two separate portions, the inner medulla and the outer cortex. The adrenal cortex's primary function is to synthesize steroid hormones, which help regulate metabolic function, immune response, stress resistors, and other essential functions. The adrenal cortex makes up the bulk of the adrenal gland and is formed by glandular tissue. The outer zone of the adrenal cortex is formed by clustered cells and is primarily responsible in regulating mineral and water balance within the blood through the production of mineralocorticoid hormones. With its cells arranged somewhat linear to one another, the middle layer of the adrenal cortex is responsible for producing metabolic hormones. Glucocorticoids influence energy and help maintain glucose levels and blood pressure. Only being 7% of the cortex, the cells of the innermost layer of the adrenal cortex have a net-like arrangement that mainly produce sex hormones such as testosterone. The central portion of the adrenal gland is the adrenal medulla. It is composed of knotted nervous tissue and spherical medullary chromatin cells that are packed around blood-filled capillaries and sinusoids, which are modified postganglionic sympathetic neurons. The primary function of the adrenal medulla is to secrete epinephrine and norepinephrine hormones and is also the neurotransmitter between the endocrine and the autonomic nervous systems. Aldosterone accounts for 95% of the mineralocorticoids produced. It targets the kidneys with its primary goal maintaining sodium-ion balance. It reduces the excretion of sodium from the body, where it stimulates reabsorption of sodium ions from the forming urine and their return to the bloodstream. Homeostatic imbalance of aldosterone can cause hypertension and edema due to excessive sodium and water retention, or accelerated excretion of potassium ions. If potassium loss is extreme, neurons become non-responsive and muscle weakness occurs. Cortisol promotes gluconeogenesis and hyperglycemia, mobilizes fats for energy metabolism, stimulates protein catabolism, assists body to resist stresses, and depresses the inflammatory and immune responses. Hypersecretion of cortisol can cause Cushing's disease, which will be explained further later on. Excessive levels of glucocorticoids can depress cartilage and bone formation, inhibit inflammation, and prevent vasodilation. The bulk of gonadocorticoids secreted are androgens, male sex hormones, the most important being testosterone. The adrenal cortex also creates female hormones such as estrogens. Hypersecretion of gonadocorticoids can cause early maturation of the reproductive organs, and appearance of secondary sex organs can occur rapidly. Females may develop strong male characteristics such as masculine body hair. The adrenal medulla secretes catecholamines such as epinephrine and norepinephrine. The fight-or-flight response stimulates the sympathetic nervous system. This rises blood sugar levels, blood vessels constrict, and pulse rises. Epinephrine is released, increasing metabolic activities, while norepinephrine increases blood pressure. Deficiency are generally not an issue, as this merely intensifies metabolic activities. However, hypersecretion can cause uncontrolled sympathetic nervous system activity. Cushing's disease occurs when excess levels of the hormone cortisol is released. Causes such as a tumor on the pituitary gland or the adrenal gland triggers cortisol release. It most often results from pharmacological doses of glucocorticoid drugs. It is more common in adults and is 2 to 3 times more common in women than men, and it usually occurs between 30 to 50 years of age. Without treatment, approximately 50% of individuals with Cushing's syndrome die within 5 years of onset. Causes of death include overwhelming infection, suicide, and hypertensive disease. Cushing's disease is characterized by persistent hypoglycemia, dramatic losses in muscle and bone protein, water and salt retention, hypertension, and edema. The Cushing's signs include a swollen moon face, free distribution of fat to the abdomen and neck, tendency to bruise, and poor wound healing. Eventually, the muscles weaken and spontaneous fractures force the person to become bedridden. The only treatment is removal of the cause,